I'm not cheating, you're just insecure. My girlfriend sneered while hiding her phone. So I smiled, screenshotted everything, and sent it to her parents. She found out what insecurity really feels like when her family staged an intervention. My name's Ryan, 28, male, and I'm not sure if I'm writing this because I want advice or because I need someone to tell me I'm not losing my mind. Either way, here goes. I've been with my girlfriend Madison, 26, female, for about 3 years. We met at a friend's birthday party. She was that girl who lit up the room. Blonde hair, loud laugh, the kind of confidence that makes everyone else feel like a background character. I was drawn in immediately. Madison had this way of making you feel like the only person she cared about, and back then I needed that. And at first, everything felt electric. She'd surprise me at work with coffee, blast music in the car while we drove nowhere just to talk, climb into my lap during movies like she couldn't get close enough. I honestly thought she was it for me. But somewhere in the last year, something shifted. She got weird with her phone, like really weird. Face down on the table, carrying it into the bathroom, laughing at messages, then instantly locking the screen when I walked into the room. I'd ask about it and she'd snap, "God, Ryan, you're so insecure. Can't I have friends without you breathing down my neck?" That word, insecure, she threw it at me like it was supposed to end the conversation. Like her behavior wasn't the problem, I was. The moment that's burned into my brain happened 2 months ago. We were on the couch, just the two of us, and I caught her tilting her phone away from me while texting. I said, calm as I could, "Why are you hiding your screen?" She gave me this smug little half smile and sneered, "I'm not cheating, Ryan. You're just insecure." And something inside me shifted. I didn't blow up. I didn't beg. I just smiled back at her. Because in that second, I knew. I knew she was lying. I knew I wasn't crazy. And I knew exactly how I was going to handle it. I waited until she fell asleep that night, her phone charging right there on the nightstand. I'd watched her type her password enough times to know it by heart. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone, but I got in. And what I found? It wasn't just one guy, it was three. Three different guys she was texting, flirting, sending pictures to. Inside jokes, late-night wish-you-were-here messages, entire conversations about me where she made me sound like some clingy loser. I screenshotted everything. Every word, every photo, every timestamp. I sent it all to my own email, and then I sent it to her parents. That was the moment I stopped being the insecure boyfriend. The thing about pressing send is that you can't unsend. Once I shot those screenshots off to Madison's parents, I just sat there staring at my phone like I'd detonated a bomb. My chest felt hollow but sharp, like someone had scooped me out with broken glass. I didn't tell her right away. For a week, I acted normal. I kissed her forehead, made her coffee, nodded along while she rambled about her day. Meanwhile, I knew her parents had those messages sitting in their inbox. It was Madison's mom who cracked first. Diane, mid-50s, the type who still signs her texts with "Love Mom." She called me one afternoon while Madison was at work. "Ryan," she said, voice tight, "we need to talk, tonight, at the house." I knew right then the fuse had caught fire. That evening, when Madison walked into her parents' living room and saw me sitting on the couch, her whole body went rigid. She knew. I could see it in the way she froze in the doorway, clutching her purse like a shield. Her dad, Charles, didn't waste time. He dropped the stack of printed screenshots on the coffee table. They fanned out like a deck of poisoned cards. "Madison," he said, voice low but hard, "what the hell is this?" The silence after was brutal. Madison's eyes darted between me and the papers, then back at her parents. Her lips curled into this mocking smile, the same one she used when she thought she could talk her way out of anything. "Oh my God," she laughed, sharp and bitter. "You're actually listening to him? You've always said Ryan was too sensitive, and now you're buying into his little paranoia fantasy. He's just insecure, Dad, that's all this is." She reached out, trying to swipe the pages off the table, but Charles slammed his hand down on them. The sound made me flinch. "Don't," he said. "Don't you dare insult our intelligence. These are your words, your pictures, your face." That's when Madison snapped. Her voice went from fake sweet to feral in seconds. She started screaming at me, pointing her finger like she wanted to stab me with it. "You sneaky piece of shit! You went through my phone? You violated my privacy? You're disgusting!" Her mom tried to calm her, but Madison wasn't hearing it. She spun around, knocked a lamp off the end table, and it shattered across the hardwood. I actually stepped back because for a second I thought she was going to come at me. And here's the thing. I didn't feel scared. I felt relief. Because she was showing them what I'd been living with. The rage, the manipulation, the way she twisted everything back on me. She stormed out of that house like a hurricane, slamming the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. The last thing she yelled, muffled through the glass, was, "You're all pathetic. I don't need any of you." The room went dead quiet after she left. Her parents just sat there staring at the broken lamp like it was symbolic. I realized my hands were shaking again, but not from fear. This time it was adrenaline. Charles looked at me, his face gray. "Ryan, thank you for showing us." And Diane, she started crying. "We're staging an intervention. This has gone too far." I didn't know it at the time, but that night was the start of Madison's whole world collapsing. Don't forget to subscribe. The night after everything blew up at her parents' house, Madison came back to our apartment like nothing had happened. She walked in humming, dumped her purse on the counter, and asked what I wanted for dinner. I just stared at her. "Madison, you broke a lamp in front of your parents. You screamed at me like I was the villain. How are you pretending this is normal?" Her smile flickered, then hardened. "Because it is normal. Couples fight, families fight. You all overreacted." She tossed her phone onto the couch like a dare. "You want to check again, Ryan? Go ahead. Nothing's there now." That last word, "now," hit me like ice water. She'd cleaned house, deleted everything. But the smug way she said it told me she wasn't sorry. She was just covering her tracks. When I didn't respond, she stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door so hard a picture frame cracked on the wall. 10 minutes later, she came out sobbing. Makeup streaked, voice shaking. "Ryan, please don't leave me. I'll die without you." She clutched my shirt like I was her lifeline. And I'd like to say I didn't flinch, but I did. Because part of me knew it wasn't love. It was control. Over the next few days, Madison went nuclear. If I didn't answer her texts immediately, she'd blow up my phone with 30 calls in a row. If I left for work without kissing her goodbye, she'd accuse me of cheating. One night, I came home to find she'd gone through my laptop, my drawers, even my glove box in my truck. My stuff was scattered everywhere, like she was searching for some invisible crime to pin on me. The breaking point came when she showed up at my job. I'm a project manager at a construction site, and Madison pulled up in the middle of a safety meeting, blasting her horn until everyone turned to look. She jumped out, mascara smeared, screaming across the lot. "Ryan, you think you're better than me? You think you can embarrass me in front of my family?" My coworkers stood frozen, hard hats in their hands, like they'd just walked into a soap opera. I tried to calm her, but she shoved me in the chest. Tools clattered to the ground, and then, this part still makes my skin crawl, she dropped to her knees, clutching her stomach, wailing like I'd hit her. "Help! He's hurting me!" Everyone just stared, wide-eyed. My foreman pulled me aside immediately, whispering, "Man, you need to get her out of here before this gets worse." I got her back in the car, but inside I was shaking. Not from guilt, from fear. Because I realized Madison wasn't just unstable, she was dangerous. That night, Diane called me. Her voice was flat, exhausted. "She's unraveling, Ryan. We can't keep pretending she'll get better on her own. We're staging the intervention next week, and you need to be there." For the first time since this whole mess started, I felt like I wasn't alone. But in the pit of my stomach, I knew Madison wasn't going down quietly. The week leading up to the intervention was like living with a grenade whose pin had already been pulled. Madison oscillated between suffocating affection and volcanic rage. One minute she was curled against me on the couch, whispering how much she loved me. The next she was hurling a coffee mug at the wall because I didn't respond fast enough when she asked if I thought she was pretty. There were cracks in her mask now, and everyone saw them. My neighbor even pulled me aside one night when Madison was outside screaming into her phone. "Man," he said quietly, "you need to be careful. She's not just upset, she's unstable." The intervention came on a Sunday afternoon at her parents' house. Diane had insisted on neutral ground, though nothing about it felt neutral. The living room was staged like a therapy session. Chairs pulled into a circle, tissues on the coffee table, her parents sitting stiff like they'd rehearsed their lines. I was in one corner, pulse thundering in my ears. Madison walked in late, sunglasses on, holding her phone like a shield. The moment she realized what was happening, her face twisted. "Oh, hell no," she snapped. "We're not doing this cult shit." Charles's voice was firm but shaking. "Madison, sit down. We're doing this because we love you." She let out this laugh, high, brittle, unhinged. "No, you're doing this because Ryan's been whispering in your ear. Yeah, he's jealous. He's insecure. He can't handle me having friends who actually want me." She jabbed a finger in my direction, eyes blazing. "He's the problem, not me." I opened my mouth, but Diane cut me off. "Enough, Madison. We saw the messages, we saw the pictures, we saw everything." Her voice cracked. "This isn't about Ryan. This is about the way you've been living, the lying, the manipulation, the outbursts." For a moment, Madison froze. Then she went feral. She kicked over a chair, sending it crashing into the wall. "You're all so pathetic, staging an intervention like I'm some drug addict. What's next, locking me in rehab? Handcuffing me in the basement?" Her eyes darted between us, cold and glassy. Her dad stood, voice trembling with anger. "We're giving you a choice, Madison. Get help, or lose us." That was the first time I saw Madison actually falter. For a split second, the mask slipped. She looked small, almost childlike. But then she hardened again, jaw clenched, fists balled. "Fine," she spat. "You want to see what happens when you gang up on me? Don't cry when it blows up in your face." She grabbed her bag, stomped out the door, and peeled out of the driveway so fast the tires left black streaks on the pavement. Silence hung heavy after she left. Diane was crying softly. Charles just sat there, rubbing his temples like he'd aged 10 years in an hour. And me? I felt hollow. Because I knew Madison wasn't just going to slink away. She was going to retaliate. And she did. Don't forget to subscribe. Update. Wow. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I thought maybe a handful of people would read my story, maybe tell me I wasn't crazy. Instead, I've been up half the night scrolling through comments. Half of you telling me I dodged a bullet, the other half saying I need to get a restraining order yesterday. And honestly, both camps are probably right. So here's what happened after that intervention. Madison didn't take it well. No shock there. But I didn't expect her to retaliate as fast as she did. Within 24 hours, my phone was blowing up with texts from mutual friends asking if I'd really been abusing her. Yeah, that's where she went with it. She's been telling anyone who'll listen that I'm some controlling psycho who isolated her, went through her phone, true, and is now turning her family against her, also true, but not in the way she's spinning it. One commenter said, "She's going to smear you before you can tell your side." And holy hell, you nailed it. She's already posting vague Instagram stories about escaping toxicity and survivors finding their strength. Someone DM'd me a screenshot of one where she captioned a mirror selfie. "Funny how insecure men call strong women crazy." The rage I felt reading that, it was volcanic. But weirdly, it was also clarifying. Because now it's not just between me and her, it's public. And if she wants to play that game, fine. I'll play. The wildest part? Her parents are still on my side. Diane texted me yesterday. "We're so sorry for what she's putting you through. We know the truth. Stay strong." Charles even called and said, "If she comes around spinning lies, don't engage. We'll handle it." Hearing that, man, I can't explain how much lighter I felt. For once, I'm not the only one carrying this. But here's where I need to be honest with you all. I'm scared. Not of losing her. That ship has sunk and is sitting at the bottom of the ocean. No, I'm scared of what she does next. Madison's the kind of person who can't stand losing control. When she feels cornered, she lashes out, and she doesn't care who gets scorched in the fire. Some of you told me to start documenting everything, and I have. Every call, every message, every tantrum. My buddy joked that I should carry around a GoPro just to cover my ass. And honestly, he's not wrong. Because something in my gut tells me Madison isn't done, not by a long shot. And if she wants to find out what insecurity really feels like, I'm ready to show her. After that intervention, Madison went scorched earth. If she couldn't convince her parents, she'd try to convince everyone else. It started with the smear campaign. Mutual friends, coworkers, even my own cousin reached out asking why Madison was posting abuse survivor memes with captions like, "He broke me, but he won't break the next girl." At first, I thought ignoring it was the smartest play. But then she showed up at my apartment building, middle of the night, banging on the door so hard the neighbor's dog started howling. She was screaming loud enough for the whole floor to hear. "Ryan, come out and say you didn't hit me! Come on, be a man!" I stood there in the dark, frozen, listening to her voice echo down the hall. My phone buzzed. Text from a buddy who lived a floor below. "Dude, she's outside. Want me to call the cops?" I didn't. Not yet. A part of me wanted everyone to see her unravel, to let her dig her own grave. But Madison wasn't done. 2 days later, I came out to my truck and found the windshield smashed, glass glittering across the dashboard. Someone had keyed "liar" into the driver's side door. I didn't have to guess who. My stomach was a knot of fury and adrenaline. She wanted to make me look unstable? Fine, I'd give her a taste of her own medicine. That night, I opened the folder of screenshots again. Not just the cheating ones. I'd started collecting everything. Her drunk texts, her threats, her 2 a.m. rants where she admitted to messing with me just to see me squirm. I'd been sitting on a mountain of evidence without realizing it. And then I had an idea. Her parents had already seen the truth. But what about the people she was lying to now? What if the friends she'd manipulated suddenly had the receipts in their inboxes too? The thought made me smile. Not a happy smile. A dark, cold one. But I didn't hit send yet. I wanted her to feel the buildup. I wanted her to squirm like she'd made me squirm for months. So instead, I played along. I answered her occasional texts with short, calm replies. I let her think maybe she was getting to me. Meanwhile, I was gathering more. Screenshots, voicemails. Even the voicemail she left where she screamed, "I'll ruin you, Ryan. I'll make everyone believe you're the abuser." And then came the moment that lit the fuse for real. Madison showed up at my job again. This time, she didn't scream. She cried. In front of my boss. She told him she was scared of what I might do. My boss pulled me aside afterward, concern written all over his face. That was it. The line? She wanted to ruin my reputation? She wanted to drag me through the mud? Fine. But when I hit back, it was going to be in front of everyone. And she was going to feel exactly what it meant to lose control. I hit my breaking point the day Madison showed up at my boss's office pretending to be terrified of me. That was the exact moment I knew I couldn't just defend myself anymore. I had to go on offense, so I built the stage. I took every screenshot I'd saved, the cheating messages, the late-night rants, the voicemails where she literally threatened to frame me, and I organized them, labeled folders, timestamps, captions for context. It looked less like a boyfriend's meltdown and more like a prosecutor's case file. But I didn't just want her friends to see it. I wanted her to feel it like an earthquake under her feet. So I picked the perfect moment, Madison's cousin's engagement party. She'd been bragging for weeks that she was going to be the life of the party, showing up in some glittery dress like she hadn't just nuked her relationship and family ties. I got invited because her cousin actually liked me more than her. Awkward, right? So I went. Suit, tie, calm smile, like I wasn't carrying a nuclear warhead in my pocket. Madison was there, laughing too loud, clinking glasses, draping herself over her cousin's friends like she was auditioning for attention. When she saw me, she smirked across the room, like she thought she still had the power. That's when I hit send. Every single person in that room got a text at the same time. A group thread with my number titled, "Since she wants to talk about me, here's the truth." And then the screenshots rolled out, her cheating messages, her plans to meet up with other guys, her bragging about keeping Ryan around as backup, her threats to destroy my reputation, even the audio file of her voicemail. "I'll ruin you, Ryan. I'll make everyone believe you're the abuser." You could feel the air shift in the room. Phones buzzed. People gasped. Madison's cousin literally put a hand over her mouth. And Madison? She went pale, then red, then launched into full meltdown mode. She started shrieking, grabbing people's phones, trying to snatch them out of their hands. "He's lying! He's obsessed! He faked these!" But it was too late. The receipts were ironclad. Side-by-side timestamps, her face in the selfies, her own voice on the recording. Her dad, Charles, had been there too. He stood up, took her by the arm, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is what we were trying to tell you, Madison. Look at yourself. Look at what you've become." And she lost it, like full-on screaming, crying, mascara running, knocking over champagne glasses. Security ended up escorting her out because she wouldn't calm down. Me? I just stood there, sipping a drink while her entire social world collapsed in real time. For once, I didn't feel insecure. I felt free. Update 2. Well, Reddit, you wanted fireworks. You got them. I didn't expect the last post to blow up like it did. Thousands of comments, DMs, even a few people calling me savage for the way I dropped the screenshots at the party. Some of y'all told me to sell the movie rights. Others said I should have gone lower. One guy wrote, "Bro, you just Thanos snapped her social life." Not gonna lie, that one made me laugh way too hard. But let me tell you, the fallout has been insane. After I dropped the receipts at her cousin's engagement party, Madison completely unraveled. Half the room cut her off on the spot. Friends she's known for years literally blocked her number while she was still screaming at them. Her cousin texted me later and said, "Thank you. You saved me from inviting a tornado into my wedding." Her parents, they were devastated. Diane cried the whole night, but she hugged me before I left and whispered, "At least now everyone sees her for who she is." Charles was quieter, but when I shook his hand, he said, "You did the right thing. Don't ever doubt that." And Madison? Oh, she didn't just go quietly. The very next day, she showed up at my building again. Not screaming this time, sobbing, begging, pounding on my door with her fist until my neighbor threatened to call the cops. She alternated between apologies, "We can fix this, Ryan. I'll change, I promise," and venom. "You think you've won? I'll make you regret humiliating me." Later that night, she posted a 12-minute Instagram story where she tried to explain her side. She called me controlling, said I hacked her phone, said the screenshots were deep fakes. Problem is, she included just enough real details that people immediately started dragging her in the comments. Someone even stitched her video with the voicemail I shared and wrote, "Girl, that's literally your voice." It went semi-viral. Now she's doubled down on playing victim, but it's not working. Her whole world, family, friends, online followers, it's all crumbling. And the irony? She once sneered at me, told me I was insecure. Now she's the one spiraling, paranoid, watching everyone walk away. I won't lie. Part of me feels bad. I loved her once. But the bigger part of me? It feels like I finally ripped the mask off a monster. Some of you told me to disappear, cut her off completely. I am. I've got every incident documented. I'm talking to a lawyer about a restraining order, and my locks are already changed. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that Madison doesn't just vanish, she erupts. And something tells me her biggest meltdown is still coming. For a couple weeks after the party, I thought maybe the storm had passed. Madison went quiet online. No late-night banging on my door, no new smear posts, no dramatic public scenes. I started to breathe again. But silence from Madison wasn't peace. It was pressure building. It all came crashing down on a Friday night. I was coming home from work, dead tired, when I noticed something off. My apartment door was ajar. My stomach dropped. Inside, Madison was sitting on my couch. Not invited. Not welcome. Just sitting there, cross-legged, sipping one of my beers like she lived there. "Hi, Ryan," she said, smiling way too wide. "We need to talk." Every nerve in my body lit up. "How the hell did you get in here?" She dangled a key between her fingers, smirking. "You didn't change the locks on your truck, babe. Guess what was in this glove box?" My blood ran cold. She stood, pacing, hands flying like she was preaching to a crowd only she could see. "You think you've ruined me? You think some screenshots make me a villain? No. You're the villain, Ryan. I gave you everything, and you made me look crazy." Then she grabbed a photo off my bookshelf, a framed picture of me and my late brother, and smashed it against the wall. Glass exploded everywhere. My hands clenched into fists, not because I wanted to hit her, but because I was shaking so badly I didn't know what else to do. "You don't get to erase me!" she screamed. Neighbors must have heard the noise because a knock came at the door. Mrs. Grant, the older lady down the hall. "Ryan, is everything okay in there?" Madison bolted to the door and yelled through it, "Call the police! He's hurting me!" My stomach dropped. This was it, the nuclear option. I yanked the door open before Mrs. Grant could panic, holding my hands up. "No one's hurting anyone." She broke into my place. "Please call the cops, but for her." Madison froze, eyes darting between me and the neighbor. For once, she realized she'd overplayed her hand. Because Mrs. Grant's eyes were already scanning the smashed frame on the floor, the beer bottle in Madison's hand, the wild look on her face. "Sweetheart," Mrs. Grant said gently, "you need to leave before you get yourself arrested." The sirens came 10 minutes later. Madison tried to bolt, but the cops were already in the lobby. They cuffed her right there in the hallway, her mascara streaking down her face as she screamed at me, "You think this is over, Ryan? It's not over. You'll miss me." But I didn't. Watching her dragged out of my building, kicking and sobbing like a child throwing the world's ugliest tantrum, I felt something I hadn't in months: relief. Madison spent the weekend in county lockup. The cops told me she'd been booked for trespassing and property damage. They asked if I wanted to press additional charges, and for the first time in this entire nightmare, I didn't hesitate. "Yes," I said. My voice didn't even shake. When she finally got out, she didn't come near me. Couldn't. The restraining order made sure of that. My lawyer helped me push it through fast, with all the documentation I'd been stacking for months. The smashed photo frame, the voicemails, the screaming at my job, even Mrs. Grant's statement. They painted the picture for me. Her parents reached out one last time. Diane called, voice weary. "We're so sorry, Ryan. We should have seen it sooner. We love her, but we can't protect her from herself anymore." Charles just said, "You did more for her than we ever could. Take care of yourself." I don't know why, but that hit me harder than anything Madison ever said. Because it meant I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the insecure loser she tried to make me believe I was. I was just someone who loved the wrong person too much, too long. Madison, meanwhile, imploded. Word spread about her arrest. People she used to party with stopped answering her calls. Her Instagram, once all selfies and fake inspirational captions, went dark. From what I've heard, she's in therapy now, mandatory. Her parents staged a real intervention this time with professionals. And me? I'm healing. Slowly. My truck's still scarred with the word liar, but I left it there on purpose. A reminder of what ignoring red flags can cost you. My apartment's quieter than it's ever been, but I sleep without flinching at shadows now. Sometimes I replay the night she sneered at me on the couch. "I'm not cheating, you're just insecure." And I wonder if she even remembers saying it. To her, it was probably just a throwaway line. To me, it was the start of the end. And maybe that's the lesson in all this. People will call you insecure to cover up their own guilt. They'll gaslight you until you don't trust your own eyes. But the truth has teeth. And when you finally let it bite, it leaves marks they can't wash off. So yeah, Madison found out what insecurity really feels like. And me? I found out I'm stronger than I ever thought.